It was bad. Not a good look for the world to see President and Vice President of the United States and a world leader not respecting each other. That's not good. And anybody who thinks it was good is an idiot. Not good. But something good might come out of it. Keep that in mind. So there was a problem with Zelensky not understanding who Donald Trump is. That was the problem. To mitigate that problem, 11 U.S. senators met with Zelensky just hours before he was to appear in the Oval Office to sign the mineral deal. They met at the Hay Adams Hotel. I was aware of that meeting, even though I wasn't on the air on Friday. In the meeting, which all the senators, all 11 of them, said it was a friendly, good meeting, Zelensky was told gently to be humble, because that's what President Trump expected. And that's absolutely true. The best advice Zelensky got was go in there humble. Zelensky did not take that advice. Okay, that's where you start. The contention was that Zelensky wanted assurances from the United States that if he signed the mineral agreement and Putin violated a ceasefire or upped the ante about missiles and drones, that the United States would guarantee Ukraine's defense. Trump was never going to do that. That was not part of the deal. Okay, the deal was if you sign this, the United States will have a dog in the hunt, because our structure will have to come in to Ukraine to harvest those minerals, making it much harder for Putin to misbehave. That was what Trump thought he was getting. Now, with Trump in that meeting were Vice President Vance, who from the very beginning did not want to be much associated with Ukraine. Trump is much more accommodating, because Trump understands how evil Putin is, even if he placates him, and I'll get to that in a moment. But Vance, no. Vance didn't want, Vance is to the right of Trump on this. And then there was Marco Rubio, Secretary of State, and a whole bunch of other. Now, Rubio has no power at all in that kind of a meeting, none. Just to sit there, because he works for Trump. Okay. So when they get in there, Trump immediately doesn't like the fact that Zelensky didn't wear a jacket. I don't care about that, because Zelensky says he doesn't get dressed up in solidarity with his soldiers. This is what the soldiers wear. This is what I wear. Okay. It's small ball. But Trump gave him a little needle on it, and Trump does that. And then they start to talk about the deal, and Zelensky, I got to tell you, I watched that tape a number of times. He comes off as entitled. He comes off with an attitude, a chip on his shoulder. He does. And whoa, and that opened it up for Vance to come in and do this. Go.
I think it's disrespectful for you to come into the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media. Right now, you guys are going around and forcing conscripts to the front lines because you have manpower problems. You should be thanking the president for trying to bring an end to this conflict.
Okay, and that's not an outlandish statement by Vance, but I wouldn't have done it. Because Vance knew by scolding Zelensky, it goes out all over the world. And I would have done that privately myself if I were J.D. Vance. But that blew it up. And then Trump piled on Zelensky, and Zelensky got booted out. Now, the conspiracy people go, oh, this is all planned. You don't have, okay, a lunch for, I think it was 10 people, prepared to be put on a table if you know you're going to blow up a meeting. All right, that is just stupid. And there was no benefit for Trump and Vance to blow the meeting up without cause. But Zelensky gave him cause because he came in arrogant. And he did. Now, I have sympathy for Zelensky. His country has been absolutely battered by one of the most evil men to ever exist. And when you read my book, Confronting Evil, you'll see how evil bad Vlad is. Okay? It's not even close. But I also understand that Trump wants this to stop because we've already kicked in 200 billion American taxpayer dollars. And there's no end in sight. And if Zelensky's got to give a little bit of land or whatever, that's what Trump expects him to do. But Trump was giving him protection by this mineral deal, and Zelensky apparently is not smart enough to understand that. And the final thing is, Zelensky can't beat Russia. So, Zelensky's humiliated, the hate Trump crew goes to town, the world doesn't like Trump because it's never portrayed the way I'm portraying it. Never. Okay? Zelensky is back to Europe. This is a good thing, and the Europeans go, no, we're with you. Good. Good. Step up further so we don't have to pay so much more than. Do you realize that France has thrown in less than 10 billion? And we're at 200 billion? Come on. And Macron's running around? Jeez. So that could be good if the whole European Union rallies to Ukraine's defense. And Putin's got more of a problem then. I don't expect Trump to bail, by the way. I'd be very surprised if he did, because that would be not a good geopolitical move. Okay. So going forward, which is the most important thing now, I think the deal is going to happen. All right? When Trump, if you follow his history, if you read the United States of Trump, a lot of times this happens. The deal seems like it's going to never happen, and then all of a sudden it happens. So I expect that mineral deal, number one, to come back. And then I expect Putin and Trump, and maybe some European leaders, Britain and France, maybe, to forge out a ceasefire. But Trump's never going to sign any kind of, hey, if Putin does X, then the United States is going to throw troops. And no, he's never going to do that. And of course, Zelensky would want that. If you were Zelensky, you'd want it, right? But you don't do what Zelensky did. You don't strut in there. You don't. That was a huge mistake on his part. And that's a memo. All right, let's get another point of view on this. So I asked my producers, who are really good, I said, give me a guy who really knows the turf, all right, and knows Zelensky. So there's a former ambassador, American ambassador to Bermuda, talk about a good job, appointed by Bush the Younger, named Gregory Slayton, who's written a brand new book, Portraits of Ukraine, A Nation at War. Now, the proceeds of this book are going to Ukrainian charities to help the hundreds of thousands of Ukrainians who've been hurt by Vladimir Putin for no reason. And so this book is, A, number one, worthy of your attention, and B, Gregory Slayton joins us now from Dallas, Texas. So you actually met with Zelensky. When did you meet with him?
Well, thanks, Bill. First of all, it's great to see you again. Great to be on your show.
Sure.
And I agree 100% with your assessment. I was in Kiev last Monday at the invitation of President Zelensky and his team to mark the third anniversary of the brutal and unprovoked Russian invasion. That was difficult, but I was glad to be there. And it was also the official launch date for the book. And I appreciate your mentioning the book because, yes, all proceeds do go to good Ukrainian charities. I was also at the White House I was in D.C. on Friday for that meeting, which, as you described, was a disaster. And yes, there were mistakes on both sides, but President Zelensky was properly briefed and for whatever reason decided not to listen to 11 US senators who know far better than he does how to work with President Trump.
Let me
So,
stop you right there. I'm glad that you have affirmed what I said, number one, because I had no idea you were going to do that. Because you didn't know what I was going to say.
no, I did not.
Okay. Based upon what you and I both know to be true, I think Zelensky is immature. I don't think he's got a lot of impulse control. Would that be fair?
Well, I don't ever want to criticize somebody without being in his shoes. You know, Abraham Lincoln was exhausted by the Civil War. Zelensky's lost in 3 years hundreds of thousands of troops, and literally millions of civilians have been either killed, wounded, or dislocated from their homes, their villages. I mean, it's a brutal, brutal battle. Did he make a huge mistake at the White House? No doubt about it. Is he a little impulsive? Yeah, I would say so. But I think also we got to have a little bit of sympathy for the guy because I can't even.
And I think that's a good point. And I do have sympathy for him. He is traumatized. But
Yes.
he knows the only pathway to stop this madness is for Putin to get something out of it. Putin's never going to stop or walk away unless he looks like a winner. Trump knows that. Trump's got to give Putin something, which is why Trump isn't bashing Putin, between the eyes. Because if he does that, it's never going to stop. Because Putin doesn't care about his own people. He doesn't care.
Correct.
But he needs to get out because the Russian people themselves are getting restive. Word of the day, restive. Got 1 million Russian casualties. Putin knows he's got to stop. But he's not going to stop unless he can, save face, can walk away. And that's what Trump's trying to do. Am I right in my assessment there?
I think you are 100% correct, Bill. And the Russian economy is even much worse shape than most Western assessments indicate.
But
For
remember,
example,
Putin doesn't care about that. He doesn't care about the Russian economy.
No, I got to disagree with you just slightly there, Bill. He doesn't care about the people from the Stans and North Korean soldiers. He doesn't care anything about them. But the economy owned by the oligarchs who basically own all these things on Putin's behalf. That's why Putin is the richest man in the world,
Yes,
according
he is.
to all Western intelligence services. And when you've got your entire hospitality industry, your entire coal mining industry, many of the non-military industries cannot pay the 25% interest rates that are common if you can get a loan at all and can't find employees. Literally, the Russian economy is 6 months, 12 months from a very, very bad reckoning.
It's a legitimate point, but if you understand Putin, he will go over the cliff if you don't give him a winning persona, I think. All right? He's not going to pull it back. But Trump knows that. Trump is giving him a pathway out. But Zelensky is way over his head. He has no blanking clue. Last word.
No, I completely agree with that, Bill. I think that we as Americans have to remember that, we are the light of democracy and freedom in this world. That's why, yes, President Zelensky was out of line. He did not behave himself as he should have, but we still need to be the light and the beacon, because let me tell you, there's a lot of wannabe Putins and wannabe Xi Jinpings who are, right now thinking, why do I have to bother with elections and judiciary and stuff? Let's just make myself the leader, right? And be the leader for the rest of my life. That we always must stand against.
No, look, the geopolitical landscape is very, very tough. And as I said, I think they're still going to make a deal. You concur?
I agree 100%. Zelensky's already said, he said publicly, I want to sign the deal. So mea culpa. Okay.
I hope it happens.
I
said prayers at Mass yesterday that it would. I don't want to see any more suffering over there on a part of the Ukrainian people at all. So the book is Portraits of Ukraine, Nation at War. You can get it on Amazon. And remember, the purchase price is going to help suffering people. Mr. Ambassador, thanks very much. I hope you'll come back, and I hope things evolve the way you and I see it. Thank you very much.